Hello and happy Friday everyone. I'm Miranda and as always on a Friday my mum Donna joins me.
Hello.
And we bake something delicious together and then we sit by our kitchen fire and we chat about the books and the short reads that we've been enjoying from the week. Now it was St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday, so we thought it would be fun to make something Irish today to celebrate. So we're making an Irish tea cake, or what is it called?
Barmbrack.
Barmbrack. I'm sure I'm saying that not quite right.
Why not?
But
sounds delicious, doesn't it?
It sounds really delicious. So it's a very thrifty recipe actually, because there's no sort of butter or anything like
no
that.
No fat in it.
No fat in it. But we've got some mixed fruit that we've already soaked overnight.
Yes.
With Irish whiskey.
And cheese. So perhaps the Irish whiskey makes up for the lack of thrift. Well, for the thrift in the lack of
Yes,
butter.
that's right. So that's already been soaking overnight and we poured off the excess liquid, drained it, so that's there from the fruit. And then we've got 1 egg and we've got already in here is the flour and the mixed spice and the baking powder. And then here's some light brown sugar. So as always, I will link the recipe in the description box down below so that you can make this yourself. But so what do I need to do first?
So first of all, pop the flour, baking powder and the mixed spice in the bowl and then mix in the sugar.
Okay, I love this because it's just an easy...
You don't even need a mixer, it's a wooden spoon.
1 bowl, 1 spoon recipe.
Yeah.
They're my favourites.
Yes, we love those, don't we?
Yes, and a nice fruit loaf. It's just
always good.
A great classic for afternoon tea, isn't it?
It is. And you've always got it lasts the week so often, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, exactly.
Nice for the weekend, actually.
Yes.
Especially
I'm looking forward to that.
We keep getting sunny bits, so you think, oh, we'll run outside and have our cup of tea in the sunshine.
And then that's when the wind picks up and it's like a gale force and it gets very cold very quickly. And there's some real spring showers we've been having.
There are.
Gusts
but
of
all
wind
of a sudden
and
the daffodils have just gone crazy.
Oh, they've gone, they have.
Absolutely
it's just like
gorgeous.
A bank of gold outside our window. It's so beautiful.
So once you've got that mix, then you make a well in the middle and you're going to add in the beaten egg.
Put that in.
Yeah, and mix that up, and you're going to be needing the liquid that we drained off the fruit that had soaked overnight. But we'll just see how much you need.
Okay.
I think here we've got about, it looks to me like 125 millilitres. So about 4 ounces, I guess, of liquid, and I suspect you're going to need most of that.
Yeah.
So I'll just, when you're ready, I'll start pouring it in.
Okay.
And just whisk away.
Okay. It smells awfully good. I
It
have
does,
to say, it
doesn't
must be the whiskey.
I'm sure that's the whiskey.
And the mixed spice maybe too, but yum.
Very yummy.
Yes.
There we go. I think we're going to need it also.
Oh, yes. Okay, that looks good. Well, we do love our plain cakes, don't we? I mean, it's nice to make something fancy sometimes, but we really love just a plain cake.
Well, then it doesn't feel so much of an indulgence that you can't enjoy it at tea time a few times a week.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but you've had a busy week.
Very busy. Yes, it has been quite a busy week. For one thing, I have started a new Instagram account that isn't strictly my own, although I am doing all of the content for it and running it. But it's an Instagram account for Girls Gone By publishers. And I've been such a fan of Anne and Clarissa, who founded Girls Gone By, since I was a child.
Yes, yes.
Because they both ran the Friends of the Chalet School Club. I loved the Chalet School books by Eleanor Brent Dyer.
Oh, they were your favourite.
I was
From about 9 on or 8. And what do you remember?
9.
9.
Yeah, I was 9 when I read the first one.
Yeah.
And I just loved them. I became a member of the Friends of the Chalet School. And I remember when Girls Gone By launched in 2001 and how excited I was then. But they don't really have much of a social media presence.
No.
And I thought they really should be on Instagram.
Yes, quite right.
So I contacted Clarissa about it, and here we are. Do please check out the account if you haven't already. It's Girls Gone By Publishers on Instagram, and I would absolutely love it if you followed along there.
Well, it's lovely because they're now we're going to pop all the fruit in, and you give it all a very good stir. It's very rich in fruit, isn't it?
It is. There's a lot of fruit. It feels a bit like Christmas again.
Yeah, that's true. But yes, I think what's lovely is they're obviously a female-run business, but they've got a real love of the books, and they want to make them available at a reasonable price, because books are like that are so expensive on the
second-hand market. They cost so much money. They're so collectible. I mean, even the Girls Gone By editions themselves, when they go out of print, become really collectible.
They do.
Because there is such a demand, but they can't afford to keep all of the books in print all the time. But they do as much as they possibly can. And I think they're doing a wonderful thing in making these books available at affordable prices.
I think it's amazing.
And I know it really matters to them that the younger generation discover these books and enjoy them, and, you know, they want the books to live on. And they've meant so much to me in my life that it feels wonderful to be able to volunteer my time and my expertise with Instagram to be able to help at this stage.
Well, I think it's a really lovely.
It feels a bit like coming full circle.
I know what you mean. It's lovely. That looks amazing. That's lovely.
Oh, it does look good.
I'll just have to show
you close up because it looks so tasty. Let's see if you can see that. All mixed up. Looking delicious and smelling very good, and so easy.
Yes. This is just greased and lined with greaseproof paper.
Yeah.
So, okay. Baking paper, I think, actually.
Pop it in. Could you hold it?
Yes, of course. Sorry.
It's a bit
heavy, this one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've got it. You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
true, actually. This one is heavy. But I love it. I think they're Mason Cash, these mixing bowls.
They're
and
very
my mother
nice,
had one, and my grandmother had one.
I really want the pink one, of
I
course.
know. There is a pink.
Yeah. Or at least they used to be. I hope they still have it.
Because
one day I want to get that.
Maybe we should get a light blue if they ever have that.
Yes. That would match our kitchen.
Well, pink or blue would be lovely. In fact, why not one of each?
Yes.
You can always use a bowl, can't you?
Well, you can. Yes, that is true.
Well done.
I have to admit, I'm kind of looking forward to licking that out of it.
Don't
with a
take
spoon.
it all.
Oh,
that looks
really
lovely.
good. Okay.
That's perfect. And it goes into a 170 degree ordinary, so 150 fan oven for about an hour.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pop this in, and then we'll see you at tea time. And we're back, ready for our tea time.
Definitely.
Got the fire lit, the cake baked, and it looks delicious. I'll show
It really
you.
does.
It cut really well, didn't it?
It did.
Just
Lovely
a very classic fruit loaf. Delicious. Well, let's hope so.
Smells
anyway.
good too.
It does.
I don't know if it's psychological, but I can still smell the Irish whiskey.
I think I can too. Well,
let's sample.
Try it.
Yes.
They say you can serve it with butter, but
Yeah.
we didn't bother.
No.
because
It looks lovely and moist, doesn't it?
It does look nice and moist.
Mm.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's very nice.
Mm.
Mm.
Really nice. I love the colour of it too, like a nice like fruit cake.
It's really lovely. It goes perfectly with a cup of tea.
It does. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. It's just that little bit spiced too. It's very nice.
It's very fragrant in a way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just used ordinary tea
Mm.
to soak it in,
Yeah.
so it wasn't anything like Earl Grey, but I'm sure that would be lovely as well. But I think the whiskey sort of overpowers whatever you put with it, probably.
Delicate tea probably wouldn't
No.
stand up to that anyway.
Lovely.
Mm. Really nice, lovely and fragrant.
Well, that's a real winner.
Definitely. Be making that again.
Yeah.
Somehow it's a nice sort of early spring cake, I feel.
Yes,
too.
I do too. Apparently you can bake it at Halloween
Mm.
and put a ring inside it. Perhaps not a ring that you were really fond of.
No, would want to put any of my rings in it.
And then like serve it at Halloween. And I don't know if the person that gets the ring is going to be married that year. I'm not sure what the
They had all
story is.
sorts of
Superstitions and
superstitions and customs about marriage around Halloween.
they did, didn't they?
Yes, that,
Yeah.
that is interesting.
It is.
Yes, hands off my rings. Well, we've got a nice selection of reads today too, don't we?
Yes. I'm going to go first today.
Yes, all right.
All right.
I've chosen some, again inspired by St. Patrick's Day.
Lovely.
And I was recently sent this gorgeous book. I'll hold it up so you can see it because it's got such a beautiful cover.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is, isn't
It's
it?
real gold that shimmers. isn't
Yes,
it?
yes it does. And the publisher sent it to me a little while ago and it's called Treasury of Folklore, Seas and Rivers, Sirens, Selkies and Ghost Ships by Dee Cheney and Willow Wincham. And it's such a fascinating read.
I bet it
It's got
is.
all sorts of legends from all around the world and stories and superstitions, all to do with the sea and the rivers. And you know how many superstitions there are about going to sea and things like that.
Yes, yes.
And it's so interesting. There's so many from Scotland, of course, with the
Oh,
Loch Ness
yes.
Monster and all of that, and like Selkies and things.
Yeah.
But it spans many different cultures, and there are so many fascinating stories. And I think they're going to come out with a companion volume about forests and
Oh, how
woodlands or something
interesting.
later on.
That would be great. What a nice set that will make.
Yeah, really nice. So I thought I'd read a little bit about something Irish.
Very appropriate.
And a little terrifying. Says, be careful where you rest. The insatiable appetite of the Irish joint eater. Be very wary indeed if you happen to fall asleep beside a stream, for it is then that the Irish outlucre, or joint eater, is said to strike. This small, newt-like creature is in reality a bad fairy, a parasite that preys on the slumbering walker or traveller. Slipping unseen down their throat, it sets up camp in the stomach, stealing any food consumed until the victim wastes away and perishes from sheer starvation as loved ones look on helplessly. How to fright the unseen enemy. Some say they can be drawn out by the smell of strong food. They may also reveal themselves if the host eats something salty, then waits by a stream for them to abandon their host in search of water. Although a very sneaky foe, there are signs that can reveal the parasitical creature. Pain and a huge insatiable appetite are said to betray the presence of the joint eater, while the victim wastes away even as he gorges himself. While tales of the joint eater are many, perhaps the most sensational of all is that of the man who had a grand total of 13 of these creatures within him. Thankfully, due to the help of a beggar man and a prince, he lived to tell the tale. Despite their ghastly reputation, these creatures are not all bad. Licking an Alp lucre is said to be a good cure for burns. Well, I don't think you're trying that.
Oh my, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
There are often a lot of superstitions about falling asleep, aren't there? Like
Yeah, by
fall
a
asleep
string.
by a string or under a particular tree or something.
Yes, exactly.
Often not much good will happen. But yes, I thought that was really interesting. Of course, Ireland is so full of folklore.
Yes.
Yes. It's so interesting.
It is.
To read about. But tell me about your first choice.
Well, I've been looking at Led by the Nose, A Garden of Smells by Jenny Joseph. And I thought I would choose a little bit of the extract from March.
Lovely.
Now, unfortunately, she's had a not very nice March, but we're doing a little bit better, I think, this month, but we know what it's like. When the wind became mild and wet instead of wild and wet, I went out to see what was coming up, and all seemed disappointment. The primrose in bud had a few rags of pale petal beside it. Some bird had pounced on the one bold enough to open and torn it up. My neighbour has a lovely cluster in a sheltered place, and they open to the west light, but I receive as yet no fragrance through the hedge. There are all sorts of things in waiting, even if it does feel as if there is no reason for the year's clock, stopped under the hard wind to get going again. Bending down close to the tips of hyacinths, sheathed and closed, strong green and full of juice and promise, I was surprised to get a whiff of sweet scent. My imagination or my sense of smell was even stronger then than even I had thought. And then I realised that the scarf I had swathed around my head had become untucked, and an end had blown across my face, and it retained the scent it had absorbed from being in a drawer with an old scent bottle. By the end of the month, although the cold and grey continued, there was a glint of night blue from the long grass around my apple tree. Iris reticulata, like a bright eye flashing through long lashes. No scent from them in this cold. I planted them under the influence of the ending of Leonard Woolf's Downhill All the Way, which moves me every time I read it. One or two of the broad beans sown in November seem to have survived the winter and are pushing through the dead leaves. I covered them with before the snow came to give them a further layer of protection. Once you brave what looks and feels like winter, there are after all things happening. My delphinium, blue, and phlox, white, I hope, as the white flowers, particularly with the phlox, generally have the strongest scent, are sprouting. And at last, one daffodil bud is about to break, the yellow petticoat to its green top skirt, showing through a yellow cut like the slashed sleeves of the Elizabethans, with undersilk bulging out.
Oh, I love that description.
Isn't that perfect? Yeah. I thought it was lovely. And I know what she means about Leonard Woolf's Downhill All the Way, and now I want to find a copy and read that. Yes.
How interesting. I love that. I love it when books send you off looking for other literary...
It's down the rabbit hole of books.
Yes,
sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, this book I had on pre-order because I saw Angela Harding put it up.
Isn't that
gorgeous? On her
gorgeous?
Instagram account. It's so gorgeous, and Angela Harding's one of my favourite illustrators, and she did the cover for this, which I'll show you because it really is such a stunning volume, and I was so excited to get it. And again, I thought it was appropriate for the week of St. Patrick's Day because it's called The Wild Isles, an anthology of the best British and Irish nature writing, edited by Patrick Barkham. And I chose an Irish writer, Patrick Kavanagh, and they give a little introduction about each of the writers at the start of the extract, which I really like. And they say, a poet and novelist, Patrick Kavanagh was raised in rural Ireland, the fourth of 10 children and son of a farmer and cobbler. He left school at 13 to work on his farm and as an apprentice to his father. As Kavanagh later depicted in his memoir, The Green Fool, he was a dreamer who preferred to read. I like that description. His first poems were published in newspapers in 1928. He lived from 1904 to 67. And he was much admired, apparently, for his realistic and unsentimental portrayal of Irish country life. And the First World War and the effects of war, especially on the land as well as the people, really come into his writing.
How interesting.
And I wanted to read this extract. I worked in all the fields of Rock Savage and developed a home lover's sentiment for them. I knew every corner of those fields and every well and stream. Some of the fields possessed aristocratic names, such as the Sundial, but others, like Eden Bourne, which means the bright face, told of the days when there was poetry in the land. Rock Savage filled a great place in our lives. Before the war, there were thousands of beautiful trees on the farm. Close to our school, these trees leaned over the wall and dropped us nuts, monkey nuts for making toy pipes, horse chestnuts, of which we made whistles, and hazelnuts, which we ate. Then came the timber hunger, and the trees began to fall. Oh, what will we do for timber? The last of the woods are down. No wonder the old Gaelic poet, lamenting the destruction of the woods of Kilcash, sang so sadly. Rock Savage trees were sold by auction. The man who bought one cut down 5 as there was nobody to stop him. Father didn't buy any of the trees. There were no young, strong men in our house to help. There was no love for beauty. We were barbarians just emerged from the penal days. The hunger had killed our poetry, and we were mere animals grabbing at the leavings of the dogs of war. Money was pouring in every front door and pouring out the back door. Our house had no back door.
Wow. That's very good, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Oh.
It makes you want to read.
Keep reading
more,
that
doesn't
one.
It
really does.
I'd like to get his memoir,
The Green,
The Green Fool.
Okay, we'll have to look for that.
We will, because
Yeah.
I was really impressed by that, and
Yeah.
it made me want to read more as well. So, already enjoying this anthology.
It's lovely when they introduce you to something new like that.
It
that you've
is.
never read, and
Yes.
you know, and it takes you, as you said, on a journey, and that's wonderful.
Yes. Well, your next one.
Well, thank you.
Also Irish inspired.
Always Irish inspired. I did try, so this is my one. And this is Tea at 4 o'clock by Janet McNeill. And I was convinced, in fact I know we did have it. I first read this in a Virago.
That's very like.
Yes. So I went to look for the original, couldn't find it anywhere, but was so glad that you'd got this one.
It's very attractive, isn't it?
It's lovely,
Cover.
actually. Beautiful cover on this. And Janet McNeill, she was born in Dublin in 1907. She grew up in England and studied at St Andrews University before moving to Northern Ireland in 1931. And then she wrote prolifically, and she died in 1994, which I think she's best known for her children's books, but she wrote a few for adults as well. And what I remember about this book from reading it a long time ago is the beginning. So I thought I would share the beginning with you because it pulled me right in. Yeah. The double hall door of Marathon had lain open since noon, while those attending Mildred Percival's funeral were admitted, and the April day had blown in with them scattered petals from the apple trees. A few of these now rested on the coffin, which took the central position in the square tiled hall, and Laura deplored them almost as much as she knew Mildred would have done, and had been greatly tempted during the short service of prayer and Bible reading to step forward and brush them onto the floor. But the service was nearly over now. The words for which Laura had been waiting for 6 years were spoken, as the minister prayed for the spirit of consolation to visit the sister who, with exemplary devotion, did not spare herself in the long months of nursing. Remembering these words, writing them indelibly on her memory, distracted Laura's attention from the vagrant apple blossom. Her mouth moved a little as she repeated the words to herself, shutting out the concluding sentences of the minister's prayer. The sister who, with exemplary devotion, did not spare herself in the long months of nursing. He had said it. The words had been spoken. They could not now be discounted or taken back.
It does make you want to read more.
Makes you want to read on, doesn't
Yes.
it? It's a lovely book. It's quite slim.
Yes.
And I really recommend it.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, my final one
Yeah.
is predictable, but I couldn't not choose this because the daffodils are looking glorious right now, and who cannot quote Wordsworth when you come across a lovely expanse of daffodils? So I thought I would read The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, and when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. And I love the little introduction to this. It says, The Daffodils is one of the most quoted of nature poems. Now and then a poet will describe an object so perfectly that ever after we are bound to see it that way. After Wordsworth pictured a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, we always see them tossing their heads in sprightly dance, and our hearts dance with them. And that's so true, isn't it?
It's so true. I love that poem. I can never hear it.
Me neither.
Too
It always
often.
makes me happy, that
And
poem.
whenever I see the daffodils,
Yes.
that springs into my head.
Yes.
It's so true. It was
Yeah.
what we were had to learn, by heart at school.
Oh,
I
yes.
was always grateful for that, actually.
Yes,
Mm.
it is. It's a charming, charming poem. And you have a poem
I
as
have
well.
a poem to end with. Not as heart lifting as that one, but significant, because yesterday was the anniversary of Wilfred Owen's birth.
Oh, yes.
He was born on March 18th, 1893, and he's I think for me, my favourite poet of the First World War. So
Yeah.
I wanted to share this. He died on November 4th, 1918, so
Yeah.
very tragic.
Yeah.
This is futility. Move him into the sun. Gently its touch awoke him once at home, whispering of fields unsown. Always it woke him, even in France, until this morning and the snow. If anything might rouse him now, the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs so dear achieved, our sides full nerved, still warm, too hard to stir? Was it for this the clay grew tall? Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all?
Yes, he's I think my favourite of the First World War poets as well. Studied so much.
Yes, you would have actually. Yes,
school.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very moving.
Always so moving.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we hope you enjoyed the books that we've chosen to share with you today and the extracts that we read. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I'll put the link to the recipe in the description box down below so you can check that out. And next week, you are having your vaccine, which we are very pleased about.
Yes.
And we are going to try to film tea reads ahead of time so that even if you're not feeling very well, it will still go up on Friday. But we are just going to have to see if we can do that and what happens. But that's hopefully the plan. So we should still see you next Friday.
I'll be fine
Hopefully
anyway.
you'll be fine anyway.
A lot of people say you have a day when you're not quite full past.
So we'll just try and plan for that. But thanks so much, and we'll see you on Tuesday anyway. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.